have going on is getting a tailgate installed in this thing. Last video I made about this, we did the lift gate rear hatch assembly. Didn't have the countersunk screws to be able to just leave it up there. So I went ahead and just ordered a brand new tailgate from LMC truck right out the box. Great product. Didn't have any of the hardware or nothing with it. Obviously just kind of blank slate of the tailgate, which is fine. So I've got the hinge brackets and everything for it, and the posts on the bottom, you know, the pivot points to be able to mount it on. But I've got a broken bolt, at least one that I'm looking at right now, that I need to get out of there so that way I can actually put that pivot point on. So I'm going to go ahead and spray a little WD-40 on it. Let that soak into the threads a little bit. Now, if you're smart, you do this like a couple of days in advance before you're doing the repair. Obviously, I didn't do that. We don't got the time. Settle down now. We didn't do that. I ain't got the time. We're just gonna get after it here. Well, I'm trying to spread some light on the situation here, if you can see what I got going on. So this is the upper hole for where that pivot point's gonna mount. This is the lower one, which I don't know how well you can see it, but there is a broken off bolt in there. On this one, thankfully, there's actually a little bit of material showing, about half a thread's worth. So I hit it with some WD-40, let that soak into it while we kind of get stuff ready here. Ignore my ugly Bondo edge here. It's a work in progress, not done yet. So basically, a lot of ways you could do this, right? You can just drill it out. What I'm going to try to do is I'm going to shine that up just a little bit, just to give it a little tickle. And then I'm going to take a nut, probably like a 3/8, lay it over top of it, and then fill that full of weld, hopefully get it to fuse to that bolt. And then that heat will help too, and then I can go work that thing out, back it on out, and then run a tap through it to clean the threads up, put a new one in. I hope this works. The nut here held in with some pliers, gonna try to hold that over it and then just get that sucker glowing red, piping hot. Hopefully that'll loosen up all the debris and let this thing be able to turn right out. Watch your beepers now. So I welded that all the way up till it came up flush, glowing red hot. Let me bring you in here and see if you can see it. So it's cooling down a little bit right now, but I've got that all welded up, nice solid weld to it. Now there's a lot of theories on this. You can either do it when it's hot, do it when it's cold, like let it cool, or do it right now when it's hot and your debris is melted as best as it's gonna be. You can use a ratchet, you can use an impact, whatever works for you. You can try it a bunch of different ways. I'm gonna let it cool just a touch, just 'cause I don't want to just completely crack out the weld. And then I'm gonna grab a socket first, because sometimes you can work it in, work it out, kind of like a tap and die sort of thing. So we'll give that a whirl. Well, I ain't gonna lie to you, I've tried the socket twice and haven't gotten it with that, so we're gonna see what a little baby impact will do on it. She broke. Well, you know what they said, if at first you don't succeed, try again. I'm gonna keep going on this till I can get it, and I'll let you know when I get it. Well, I gave it the old college try, and it didn't work. I don't know what it is. I've gotten that trick to work a bunch of times throughout my life, but it just ain't happening today, and I don't have the patience and time to mess around with it anymore. So this is basically just a threaded plate that's on the back side of this that these bolts go into, and you can actually access that plate underneath this taillight housing or through the actual taillight lens. So all I'm gonna do is knock that plate off, which I imagine is probably just tack welded in place. Don't care enough to get out a mirror and look at it. So I've got a little extension here and a little hammer, and I'm gonna drive that sucker off of there. And worst case, we'll throw washers and nuts on it, or I'll make a new plate, or I'll get that broke bolt out once it's out and I can weld it out on the other side on the bolt that's sticking through. do whatever I got to do to put it back. However, it needs to be put back together, so I'm not too worried about it. I wish I had noticed this broken bolt or thought about it a little more when I was doing this taillight housing assembly, because I had it cut off to like, I don't know, pretty much in line with that bolt. So I probably could have done this pretty a lot easier. Yeah, it's just a plate that's trapped in by a little piece. So we just gotta get it on out of there. Come on, get on out of there. Going on Michael Jackson. I think that was left hand, but we're going right hand today. Well, it's out of there. Yep, that's the one. So now I've got some options here. What I might do is I probably will get this out now. So I'll clean this up a little bit, probably weld a nut on this backside where there's a little more sticking out to be able to grab it, thread it out the other way, run a tap through it, shine this up, spray it with some paint, you know, to get it so it doesn't rust again. And then I'll slap it back in there, trap it back in place, and then we can move on with what this video is supposed to be, which is slapping in a tailgate. If you've ever worked on old stuff, you know that this is just how it goes. You try to do something simple and run into problems. But that's all right. We're putting together a hot rod, guys. This is fun. This is fun. I don't know about you guys, but I actually enjoy working on them more than I enjoy driving them, which sounds weird to say, and most people don't feel that way, but I enjoy being out here doing this. So thanks for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't. I'll bring you back in when we get this a little further along. So now that I put that behind me for a second, I've still got this other side to deal with, which new bolts from LMC, corroded, galled up thread, so I'm just running a tap through it. 3/8/16, sure. So threading in pretty easy. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not using any tapping fluid or anything like that because these are already threaded holes. I'm just chasing the threads out. Normally threading in a tap, you'd want to back it out as you're going in. You feel a little pop to release the chips. That way it's cutting well, because you do not want to break a tap off because they are work hardened. And they are a pain in the butt to drill out, and tap extractors pretty much never work. So I'm gonna work these in, clean out these threads. Yeah, that's a lot better. Do the bottom one, and then good to go. And then basically these just get bolted up right on there. They've got a little notch in them to be able to fit over this taillight housing. Get these bolted in, and then it'll be, I gotta chase out these threads for the hinge arms that hold on to the tailgate to be able to close it. So we'll get all these threads chased out real quick, and then it'll be a matter of just bolting stuff up to it. Okay, so I chased out these upper bolt holes too, which is for this hinge assembly that I also got from LMC. These are a 5/16 coarse thread flavor. So we're gonna slap this bad boy on there real quick. And hello, drop the bolt. Get this side bolted on. And then Butterfingers. And then once we get this side bolted on, I still got to bolt on the other side. And then we will be ready to throw on the tailgate. So we're clicking right along here. If it wasn't for that broken bolt, I think I would have gotten this job buttoned up here pretty quick. But that is just the way it goes when you work on old rusty cars, you know? Get this bolt threaded in, and then we'll give her some ooga-doogas. Not really, we're just gonna baby it down to tights. Where, there's my socket. Come on now. Chop. Just the bottom one a little lip. Just barely snug. And there you go. This side is ready to do the hinge maneuver and get a tailgate attached to it. Get this other side bolted on real quick, and then we'll be ready to slap a tailgate on here and see what it looks like. Hopefully good. That would be nice. Here we are. We got our new tailgate from LMC truck. It looks great. It's got, you kind of see, like it doesn't have the tailgate handle in here, but it does actually have the nut certs put in here for the screws and stuff that hold that all together. Now the thing to remember here is this is all bare steel car right now that is getting ready to go get painted. So it's kind of up to you on how carried away you want to get with this. I do not plan on like putting the handle mechanism, all the latches and everything in this to go be crazy to test fit it. Really, this is because I put the tail light housings in on both sides. I did a patch panel there, and so I want this to meet up pretty good to those tail light housings. So I just put the bottom pivot point hinge assembly things and the folding arms on there. It's like I'm doing the robot to be able to grab this thing to hold it up and down. And then I can go ahead and set the hatch back on here, kind of set all the gaps, and just do a quick little test fit that way. All right, let's see here. Hopefully it will fit. Well, what I'm gonna do here is I'm putting the shop stool kind of down underneath this. Okay, there we go. Well, I can see the top bolt. It's just a matter of, well, now this hinge I think is gonna fight me, so actually I think I might want to undo that. Because I've got it all weird. Ooh, the old back. What are you doing over there? Okay, so my thought here, oh yeah, rested on the old air shock shop stool. I can stand back, I can grab a drink of the old cola. And now I can throw some bolts in it. Okay, so here we are. We've got the tailgate bolted up on our pivot assemblies down there. As you saw, I had the basically have one side unbolted, other side bolted on the car. Slide it on, slide it down at an angle, get bolts in it. And then I've got it resting on just a shop stool. And now I'm gonna hook these hinges up. So pretty simple, right? It's just a square cut out, going over the square tab on the tailgate. Well, I'll be. Now, obviously, I did not, I just guessed on where to set this thing, right? Obviously, there's, I don't know how well you can see it from there, but there's adjustments that need to happen. From what I can tell, it looks like both sides pretty much need to raise up a little bit, which you do that by adjusting the hinge points down below. But yeah. So I need some fine tuning, right? But that's the whole point of this. Really the whole point of this is just to test fit it. Make sure the tailgate does fit, that I don't, one of the real spots I'm concerned about is this tail light housing to the tailgate, wherever I patched, because I need that gap to be, that body line, that gap, everything to look right. So that's really the whole purpose of this test fit. Like I said, I know this tailgate's gonna come off when it gets painted, so I'm just trying to get it close enough for now to be able to gap it, set body lines, all that. Well, there it is, fully installed. I didn't really show this part going back on because I did it in the last video. Just used the countersunk screws was the only thing different this time. And I've got it just tie wired in place right now. Now I can go ahead and gap this thing, kind of move it around a little bit. Just to kind of eyeball it roughly right. I'm really just trying to get the tailgate into roughly where I think it'll be permanently installed. That way I can go ahead and check my body gaps, check flush to my panels and everything, and make sure I got body filler where I need to and that it all looks good. So that's going to go ahead and do it for this video. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Hit that thumbs up button. I would really appreciate it. Tell anyone you know to come check out the channel if you think they would like it. That'd be much appreciated too. Really want to grow this bad boy for anyone out there that wants to see it and learn. The big thing about this is I hope this motivated some of you. Uh-oh, my tie wider's coming undone. This thing's just going to spring open like a can of stinks.